Welcome to Miss K Movie Recap. Hi, it's me, Miss K Movie Recap. Now I'll show you a South Korean science fiction action horror film from 2022 called The Witch Part 2, The Other One. Spoilers are coming. Keep an eye out and be careful. But wait, before we continue, if you haven't subscribed yet, I hope you can support this channel by subscribing to help this channel get monetized. It may be simple for you, but for us, it's very valuable, so thank you so much for your support. At the first scene of the movie, a tourist bus is driving on the highway. The girl never dreamed that the next thing that happened will change her life. The bus suddenly deviates from the road and enters a side road. By the time the people on the bus realize that something is wrong, it is already too late. In the smoke-filled car, the assailants knocked out all the passengers to capture the girl. They went out of their way to kill the passenger and package the incident as a traffic accident. When the girl woke up, she found herself in a laboratory. She is the biological mother of Ja-yoon and Cynthia, the first generation of mutants. Dr. Beck's sister, ready to create more mutant with the child in her womb. More than a decade has passed. Ja-yoon destroyed the mutant base by himself to find the antidote. Soon after, a group of people came from another research base and slaughtered all the mutants inside. However, Cynthia awakens from her coma with her superb self-healing skills. For the first time in her life, she steps out of the lab, leaving bright red footprints on the snow. Everything in the outside world is new and unfamiliar to her, and she doesn't even know how to hide from the speeding cars. While walking, the car in front of her backed up and several men came down and pulled Cynthia directly into the car. In the back was a woman named Kyung-hee, whose farm owner the gangsters wanted to take over and turn into a resort. Then the leader saw Cynthia's expressionless face in bloodstained clothes and thought she was a lunatic from a psychiatric hospital, and then started to make a move on her. They do not know that this girl is an extremely dangerous person. As expected, the car lost control and plunged headlong into the forest. After an unknown amount of time, Kyung-hee slowly woke up. The last gang member is only half alive. Cynthia was about to kill him when Kyung-hee rushed to stop her and used her phone to call the police. Then she turned around and prepared to escape the area, but she thought, after all, the girl saved her life, so it would be a bit unjust to leave her behind. So Kyung-hee called her uncle to come and get them. Uncle is a veterinarian. A glance at Cynthia's injuries are very serious. Brought back to the hospital and began the operation with a shrapnel removed. Cynthia's body began to heal itself at a very fast pace. Such an amazing recovery ability the uncle has never seen in decades of medical practice. On the way back to the farm, Cynthia was curious about everything in front of her and was surprised to see the changing billboard inside the house. Kyung-hee often fights with her brother, and Cynthia almost breaks her brother's arm. Kyung-hee prepares a delicious dinner to entertain Cynthia. When they turn around, Cynthia has already eaten all the food on the table. News of the massacre at the lab and Cynthia's survival reaches Dr. Beck. She knows that these mutants are very dangerous and can do anything if they run outside, so she called Jo Hyeon, and the big man on the side is her partner assistant, Tom. They are very strong, specializing in capture operations. Encounter the general mutant without Jo Hyeon. Just Tom can easily handle. Dr. Beck had implanted a chip in Cynthia's head and then gave Jo Hyeon tracker so that she could quickly locate it. Cynthia, who was at the farm, also had the same symptoms as her sister, but her ability was stronger than Ja-yoon's, and she could even stop time briefly, stopping all the dust in mid-air. Suddenly, several cars appeared outside the door. The gangster appeared at the farm with a group of men. They came here for the very purpose of this land. Kyung-hee confronts them with a gun, but is soon brought under control and her brother is beaten up. The gangster takes out a contract for her to sign. Kyung-hee would rather die than sign. The farm was left by his dead father. At that moment, one of his men seems to have seen something terrible. In the middle of the night, a girl stood under the roof and looked at the ground from God's perspective. The gangster below was shocked and even began to worry about the girl's safety. Cynthia's face was expressionless as she jumped down from the roof and stood unharmed in front of them. Cynthia slowly walked toward the big guy. A light kick, he is a big guy, but directly flew out. The gang members could not believe their saw. They just came back to their senses. Cynthia had already flashed to the front. The gangster with the baseball bat expressed his displeasure. The gangster was in a hurry and told everyone to flock to her. Cynthia didn't panic at all, kicked the 2-ton car and then knocked them away. The gangster was already pissed in fear. What kind of monster is this? Kyung-hee rushes over to stop her, and Cynthia stops and leaves him alive. On the other hand, Jo Hyeon finds a friend from years ago and learns from him that 4 powerful mutants have come here, and the massacre of the research base was their work, and their goal here is Cynthia. After last night's incident, the relationship between the three people further as a foodie. Cynthia's eyes instantly lit up when she first came to the supermarket, and it was heaven for her. She found that the foods here can be tasted for free, so she ate all the foods tried in the supermarket. The speed of making things completely unable to keep up. The scene once fell into an awkward. The gangster had suffered a big loss on the farm, and they always bullied others. How could he swallow this anger? When the gangster learned that Cynthia was the person wanted on the dark web, he brought his men to the veterinary clinic and cut off the uncle's finger to force him to tell Cynthia's information and then provide it to the buyer. When the gangster returned to his office, he was completely dumbfounded. The so-called buyers had already come to the door and the newly purchased cell phone was destroyed. After last night's encounter, the gangster realized that these people in front of him were monsters, just like the girl, and he obediently revealed Cynthia's hiding place. The gangster thinks that he can do whatever he wants with the support of the mutants, so he shoots Kyung-hee dead. Little did they know that Jo Hyeon's team had also set up an ambush here in the Mullen. Kyung-hee's brother left the house. 2 rockets flew towards Cynthia. Female mutant in the execution of the task cannot be allowed to mess up. She pulled out the twin swords and rushed. The man raised his gun and shot, but the woman's body was too fast for the naked eye to catch, and the gun became useless at this moment. The man decisively pulled out the knife and rushed up. Only 1 round. He received a knife in the thigh. The difference in strength made him unconvinced. During the fight, he received several knife wounds. Even his handsome face was caught. The double knife woman provoked him with a disgusted look. The man took the opportunity to draw his gun and shoot. Finally, his throat was slit in the air. During the fall, double knife woman backed down to the platform, coldly looking at the corpses below. The arrogant gangster wanted to kill Kyung-hee's brother as well. Suddenly a shot rang out and the gangster fell to the ground. It was Jo Hyeon and Tom who advised the gangster to leave the area as soon as possible before the gods fight and the mortals suffer. She laughed contemptuously and raised her hand. The fence behind her became broken and disintegrated in the air, turning into countless spikes like a rainstorm, piercing all the gang members in an instant. Jo Hyeon and the others saw this and opened fire. But the opponent's body was so fast that the gunshots had no effect on them. He was able to recover quickly from his broken fingers. The gangster who was shot on the ground took the opportunity to kill Kyung-hee's brother. Even though Jo Hyeon defended him from the gun, a bullet pierced his chest. At this time, Cynthia woke up thinking about the past few days with her siblings. There is no doubt that this period is the happiest memory she has ever had. Looking at the cold bodies of the 2 siblings, Jo Hyeon was also seriously injured and completely defeated. Cynthia's vengeful anger was completely ignited. Double Knife Woman was the first to rush up. Cynthia gave her a cold look and used her mind to immobilize her, ending her life with a single slash. The 2 remaining mutants looked Cynthia up and down, unable to see what she was capable of, but they soon found out. Cynthia blew off an entire arm of the man with her breath alone and almost simultaneously slapped the girl away. Cynthia, not feeling satisfied, goes back and crushes the gangster's other foot. The girl tried to take advantage of the opportunity to launch a sneak attack, but she did not expect that the other party did not even have to use their hands but only use their minds to control her movements and then stab the knife into her body again and again. He last mutant emerged from the ruins. This guy is still more or less capable. His broken arm can still be perfectly reborn. He tried to confront Cynthia with his own strength and countless stones rose up from around him and smashed towards his opponent. Cynthia still looked indifferent, easily fixed the stones in the air. The terrible superpower made the stones crushed into particles. Then she raised her hand. The man was completely wrapped in the sand and dust, grinding him hard into a blood-colored powder. And the girl won, realized her power at that moment. The arrogance she had just felt disappeared and the endless fear made her back up. At that moment a woman came down from the car. She was none other than the first generation witch and Cynthia's own sister. After several years of not seeing them, Ja Yoon's face has a bit more confidence of a mature woman and still kills the girl with her best trick. So it was all arranged by Ja Yoon. Since she was a bit injured at that time, she considered that it would be troublesome in case Cynthia launched a madness, so she got 4 men in black to massacre the base and then followed Cynthia, which made sure she was her sister, Ja Yoon, although in multiple bases to find a large number of potions, but these can only extend a little time. Now the sisters have to go back to their mother for a bone marrow transplant, so they can get rid of the headache for good. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want more videos, please like, subscribe, and click that notification bell to get notified of our latest uploads.